and good morning. I think this is day 3 of the book tour, and I am it's morning here in Norway. I am in Bergen. It's a city on the west coast of Norway. I have been spending some time uh, replying to comments on YouTube videos. Now let's see. It's the one with the charred punkwood that I'm working on now, or working on replying to the comments. Uh, Lots of nice comments as always. Um, so thanks for that. Um, I must warn you, there is a sneeze coming here. I can feel it. So it might not come, or it might come suddenly. I don't know, but we'll see. Uh, yeah, I'm sitting by the window. I wanted to show you the view. It is not a great view. That's just sad, you know. So, good morning, James. It's good morning there. Um, how's the tour so far? Hope all is going well. Yes. Well, I don't like this. I like, being on stage talking about my novel and all that. But I don't like the part where I have to stay in cities for, you know, days. And these cities are, Norwegian cities are generally small, but still, it's not like home, and it's yeah. So it's something I do with, kind of mixed feelings. But obviously, this is something that authors, when we are asked, we do this because it helps sell our books. Now, I have been able to change the plans a little bit for next week. Yes, a necessary evil, so to speak. In a way, you become a salesperson just for a few days, and sorry, and it needs to be done. But I have been able to change, not uh, schedule for next week, but I will be driving to those 3 cities next week instead of taking a flight. I found out that it's actually faster, or it takes about the same time to drive as it would, going to the airport, which is quite far from where I live, and then taking a plane from a flight from there on, and so on. And it's much better driving because I don't like airports. I don't like all the stress. I don't. But I like driving. I feel at peace driving in my car, and I can south coast on the western side of Oslo, um, if that makes sense at all. I don't know how many people are watching. I do realize that these live streams, I don't put any keywords, any search words on them. I don't do anything to promote them. This is just for those of you who are interested in following me on this little book tour here in Norway. And yeah, well, last night I would like to mention one thing that was not that was not completely positive, or well, I would say it was sort of a negative experience. But yes, last night, but I knew it was coming because there is one thing I never do. There is one thing I try to avoid, and that is talking about historical details when it, you know, comes to the Viking Age, and there is a reason for that. Obviously, this is part of my work. It's something I read on, and Dana, good morning, all the way from Alaska. Uh, and yeah, I don't really like discussing the historical details about the Viking Age. Well, I like doing it. I like discussing those details with, you know, like archaeologists, not so much with historians. But um, there's a reason for that. These discussions very often, at least here in Norway, they become pissing contests, you know. And especially someone like me, I mean, there are people out there. I don't like to think about how many there are of them, but they would love to see me being, you know, caught without knowledge. They would love to point out errors in my knowledge about the Viking Age. They would love to point out that they know more and things like that. I have, and even more important, you know, and is the fact that I have learned up, you know, after having studied the Viking Age. Yeah, it is aggravating. And also, I have learned after studying the Viking Age for many years that I don't take anything for granted when it comes to historical details anymore. I I'm never 100% certain about anything anymore because new knowledge is coming to us from digs, archaeology. Archaeology teaches us that many things are that people believe about the Viking Age is probably wrong, and also there is this. We do know that history was written by the people who won the wars. Not only the physical, you know, the wars, but also the culture wars. It can be argued that we are in the middle of a culture war in Western Europe and North America right now. Um, that's a different discussion, but what I'm trying to say is that we might think we know a lot about the Viking Age, um, but we must never forget that there are so many things we don't know, and mm, lots of the knowledge we think we have is probably only partly, only a part of the truth. Sinkoi says, hello, how is everyone doing tonight? Well, it's late, I will go to sleep night all. Yeah, maybe this is not the best time to do a live stream. It is, I think, 7 in the morning here in Norway, before we are leaving for yet another city. That will be Stavanger, which is even further down the west coast, further south on the west coast. So yeah. Now let me get into a different topic. Um, and by the way, my dog that I was so worried about when I left from home on Tuesday. She's old, but she's still eating. She is still moving around, and you know, it's. But I think she's looking. She misses me. She misses me, and I am looking forward to get back home. But nothing dramatic, nothing that can't be, you know, sorted out. So So just wanted to say that because you have been so supportive, um, and I want to thank you for that. Good morning. Strong Opinion says good morning. I went through the comments on the video about ancestral memory. And there will have been some troll activity in the comment section there. Nothing to worry about. I just delete the worst ones. But there are almost 800 comments, and I have some people who help me going through the comments, so that we will delete the nasty comments and so on. But when you get 700 comments, I can't ask my friends who are helping me. I can't ask them to go through 700 comments, obviously. So there will be comments that we don't discover, that we don't see, and they will be left there. I'm sorry about that. On this occasion, with the ancestral Red Desert Rose says good morning, Björn, and Samantha says good morning. Good morning to you both. And there seems to have been and good morning from Canada, from Samantha. And Wolf Mulder says, I hope this morning finds you hale, healthy, and whole. I greet the gods, the ancestors, and the whites each morning. That's a good way to start the day, I think. Remember, respect the beard. Yeah. That's what I'm going to say the next time, because I found out I think, like, I am pretty sure, except one author from a different publishing house that we met on Monday night, I think it was. He had a big beard, but no other beards. No, it's a beardless profession, it looks like. So I'll tell them respect the beard. I'll tell them that. I even have a beard comb with me. Here it is. And I do like this. And then I look like a civilized man. Like this. Makes all the difference, I think. Or not. Back to that, what I was talking about, the comments. Have you ever tried beard wax? No, but I have beard oil, But now about the comments. There were accusations of the old stone circles being, satanic, built by satanic people. There were comments about how I need to there are demons, and I need I need to become a Christian, and that was a bit sad, because I feel that place with the stone circles, it's such a wonderful place. It's a holy place. Still, to me, it's a holy place, and it's not closed to anyone. Anyone can come there, and if you want to, if you're feeling that when you come there is that this is a part of God's, the Christian God, there is something there, a connection there, that's fine. And in fact, two of my best friends are Christians, so I don't see anything wrong with that. I'm not talking about Christian people in general here, but I think you had some extremely religious Christian people who had discovered the video, and they were trolling in the comment section there. So I'm sorry about that. But it's sad to see people who write that, my ancestors, they were worshiping demons and Satan, and it's a bit sad. It's a bit sad to see that. It's it discredits a very old and beautiful tradition. Um, it's disrespectful, as Red Desert Rose says. Um, so but they were called out on that. They were called they were called out on that by other people in the comment section. So thank you for that. And actually, I used to say that don't give the trolls any attention, but I don't know. If you see troll comments, just call them out on it. If you feel like it, I don't mind. You can just leave them as well. I don't mind. It's not up to you to. It's not your task to you know to do anything about that. We will delete those comments, those negative comments, if we see them. We will do our best. Yeah, so it's an important place to me. I get all emotional when I'm there. So yeah, now let's see comments here. That type of people think they have a monopoly on the truth. And Pablo Acui, hope I pronounced that correctly. Of course, it's not satanic. Obviously, because even the Satan part, it was built long before Christianity. That was even a concept, So they might just call everything else than Christianity Satanism. So I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to criticize Christian people at all. I have, as I said, Christian friends, and they both have a very strong, healthy connection to nature. So it's these extreme people, it's and you can get actually extreme heathen people as well, and that's just as bad. Now let's see. Did I bring my hiking gear? No, I didn't. I have some sneakers, but apart from that, no. Now let's see. I have never met a pagan or heathen who tries to force others to share their belief. Me neither. Many Christians believe that is their duty. Does your book tour go abroad? Yes, it does, but it's starting Friday the 18th of October. Then I'll go to the Netherlands, to Fries Museum, and then from there to the book fair in Frankfurt. So October, and Sunday the 20th October, then on to I can't remember, it's Bad Berleburg, I can't pronounce it, and Saarsachen. Have you considered bringing your tarp and backpack? Maybe it would bring comfort in your motel room. Yes, I did actually consider that. I did consider putting up a tarp in the hotel room, and but it would be, I don't know, a bit awkward maybe. And it's just not practical to go and hike and spend the night outdoors, because it takes from where I have to be, close to the stage and all that. Yeah, now let's see here. Have there been good crowds to see you? Well, it's actually not this week. It's only this week. It's not open for the public. It's only for the people in working in the bookstores actually. And I think next week it's open for the public. Um, so my publisher actually asked me. My publisher asked me if I could bring my axe. Obviously, it's a bit difficult to do that on when you're on a plane. The airport people, they don't like axes apparently. But since I'm here, that was a dad joke there. It's very funny. I'm being funny. But since I'm driving next week, I don't know. It's I could, but first of all, I don't want people to pick on my axe. um, with there might be people who says that, well, that's not a real axe, that's not a Viking axe, that's, well, I can tell them it is. It's based on a historical fact. I have designed it. It's the well, I haven't designed it. It's based on, I picked a historical find. It's been copied. It's been made by a blacksmith, and so I can defend that it's historically accurate and all that. But there will still be people who will pick on that, and I don't need that. I don't have the energy for that. So we'll see. I yeah. But we will have never make fun of another man's axe. James, I totally agree, and I would add that this is probably one of the dumbest thing you can do actually. It's like well, at least back in the Viking age, you wouldn't make fun of. You wouldn't go up to a Viking holding an axe who you wouldn't go up to a Viking who is holding an axe and make fun of his axe. Well, you could, but that would be the last thing you did. He would probably show you that it works just fine. So let's see. People always pick problems with things they don't like. Yeah, it's probably true. They have to try to feel superior in some way, so they start nitpicking. That's true. But it's like I go very much into details when it comes to the research on what I'm doing. I even, I was sitting there on stage last night and we were talking about that, and I looked down at my hands like this, and I saw there's a scar there, and I got that from me trying to light the charred punkwood, because it's a different technique. And so I could actually show people. I have even a scar from I even have a scar from my research. It's not a big scar. It's not very serious, but it's like it's a physical thing. I actually do these things myself, and I do my best to do the research, and not only do the research like reading and traveling, but also to try out things with my own hands, which I think is important, and not many people do that. I'm sure there are other writers who do that, but not many. And um, sorry, I can't pronounce your name there, but it sounds like you're dealing with the period police who think they've got all the answers. It's a bit like that, you know. They are not here, but it's a bit, it's it's the same. And also, you're right. I love trying to recreate all techniques and methods. You can learn much that way. Absolutely, and you never truly understand how people, you never truly understand people who lived in a different age if you don't live like they did to a certain extent. Of course, you can't do that 100%, but you can try. You know, you can light your morning fire the way they did. You can make the food they ate. You can, you know, lots of things you can do actually to recreate and to you can just call me Bunip. Bunip, that's okay. The okay is for Oklahoma. Okay, yeah, thank you. Um, Learning a new skill is impressive, and it's very interesting to watch you learn how to do things the old way. Yeah, well, I think the great, to be honest, I have lots of my knowledge comes from YouTube. Not the historical, you know, not not the historical details and all that, you know, but like things like uh, making charred uh, punk wood. That's I did watch some YouTube videos, people who did that, you know, how they did it, how what worked, what doesn't work, and so on. So I did a little bit of it's very accessible, you know, to you can find it on YouTube, and there's nothing wrong about that. And then you try yourself and you find out that you know you have to adjust things a little bit. But at the end of the day, you do you do the research. You know, you find out what works, what doesn't work, and that's what I share in the videos. I don't try to if I fail, I don't try to hide that. Uh, well, I don't include things in my videos that are simply are not interesting. For instance, when the first time no, it wasn't the first time. In the video, I think it was the second time I lit fire with flint and steel and charred punkwood, and second or third time. But anyway, um, I if you notice that I've edited so that you get the impression that I am sitting there for a while trying to land a spark in the punkwood, but it was longer obviously than you know what you see in the video. But I did cut out parts because that wouldn't be interesting to watch. So instead, you try to give the impression that this guy is sitting there for a while. So I shifted position and so on. But apart from that, it is real. You know, it's not it's not edited so that I should look like an expert. You know, what would be the point in that? You know, when it comes to bushcraft, we often do things, we rediscover things, and uh, we rediscover things, and we rediscover the old ways, and it's the process of rediscovering that is I find interesting, and that's what I want to show you in the videos. So it wouldn't make any sense if I edited the videos to look like an expert who had done this 1,000 times. You know, it's. But then again, when it comes to things like lighting a fire with flint and steel and char cloth, I've done that so many times. Must be I don't want to say hundreds of times, but it must be more than 100 times. I don't make notes, so I don't know how many times. But I've done that on demonstrations around, in schools and in because there was a year when I was traveling around in Norway actually, and I talked about the Viking Age, and then I taught the kids how to light a fire with flint and steel and charcloth, and so I've done it so many times. So these days, it's like it takes one or two. Yeah, I hit the flint one or two times, and it lights the charcloth. So because of practice, and in the end, with practice, it looks easy when you've done it many times. So it's all about the technique. When we are talking about primitive fire lighting methods, I haven't mastered the hand drill method. I think it's partly because of the method. It's I haven't found, we don't have the types of wood that normally is used with a hand drill, but I'm sure it's possible to do it, but I haven't managed to do it yet, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Okay, let's. Tony says they are skills. If we don't learn them, the next generation won't have get the chance to be taught them. That's true. And Wolf Moller says, I wasn't brought up to know my way around the woods, but sought out the knowledge and experience as an adult. Yeah, that's admirable and impressive. It's some of the best bushcrafters I know come from the cities, actually. Totally self-taught also. I want to make a cookies one of these days. Yeah, me too, actually. Flint can be difficult, but I find many of the old ways to be better than the modern ways. Yes, let me just say that sometimes, not very often, but sometimes I light the fire with modern methods. I use a ferro rod, for instance. I've even used a lighter. Not very often, but it has happened. Those fires tend to be not as good as the ones I make when I use, flint and steel and so on, things like that. I think it's the preparation that goes into it. When you lay everything out, all the kindling, and yeah, I forgot all the words now. The kindling, and there's the smaller parts, and yeah. Well, anyway, those fires are more successful than the ones I make when I use more modern methods. Normally. Now let's see here. Mikael Petersson says, I don't like the term primitive about old techniques. Good point. I don't like that term either, because it is more primitive to use a lighter than, it isn't primitive at all, because it's quite hard, it's quite hard to make a fire with the primitives. There I said it, I said it. The old ways, the old methods. Good morning from the great state of Missouri. Morning from the UK. How are you feeling today? I am feeling quite well. I think we lost the connection there for a while. Are you back? I think we're back. Let me know if you're still there. Yeah, I am sorry about that. But in fact, I think I'll just check the time. Yeah, actually, I'm using my phone to get connection here on this hotel, and my wife called on the phone. So that's what happened there. Um, so yeah. Okay, I will have to go now, but if I may, I have a request. If you know that YouTube isn't doing much for my dog. Well, my dog is okay. She's still okay. I think she's a little bit depressed now that I'm away, and I will get her moving. I will get her eating more. She is eating, but I will get her eating more and get her, when I get back home. And I'm going back tomorrow. Going back home tomorrow morning. But I will have to go now. If I can, YouTube is YouTube isn't helping my main channel for the moment. It's everything is just standing completely still when it comes to views and subscribers. So please, if you have the time, you might want to go back to one of the older videos and give it a thumbs up if you can. That would be great. That would help in the YouTube algorithm, So thank you, Samantha. Thank you. Now I have to go. Well, actually, I have to call my wife. Okay. Bye bye.